you know, I want to file a public mischief charge against her as well, or whoever is making the false accusation. In fact, I think even prior to doing that, I said, you know what, go in there. You know, since it's this accusation, then you go in there, you get a full statement from whoever is saying this stuff. You get them to fill out the complaint form and sign their name to it. And then once you've done that, and we have absolute incontrovertible evidence of someone falsely accusing me of assaulting someone, well then, you know, I'll be in a position to have a very strong case against whoever's making that false accusation. Well, of course they didn't do that because, you know, they didn't really want to do anything. But because I was reporting an assault myself, they were reasonably professional and they took my complaint. So they took my complaint of Margot Ellis's assault on me, and I believe I also added the public mischief aspect to my complaint as well. So what happened is the police, you know, they responsibly took my complaint. They irresponsibly, in my view, did not go and get further evidence of the public mischief by going in and acting as if they, you know, were acting on the complaint as though it was legitimate, and getting a full statement from the person who made the false accusation, you know, the persons who claimed to be eyewitnesses to me assaulting a woman. So police officers very, you know, basically once they realized, oh, things aren't quite as well as they seemed, they were pretty good. They were, you know, basically give them 8 or 9 out of 10 for their conduct. They took my complaint. I don't give them, you know what, I might even lower that, because in my view, knowing that, oh, maybe someone brought a false criminal accusation against this guy, you know, maybe we should get some more evidence to support that so that this guy can file public mischief charges against that person, so we can dissuade people from bringing false criminal charges against people. You know, that's what they really should have done in my view, and they didn't do that. So I'm gonna have to knock a few points off for that. But on the whole, they were polite, they were reasonably professional, they weren't aggressive. Once they realized what was going on, you know, they didn't arrest me or anything like that. They took my complaint. They told me the Happy Easter. Look at these old picket signs of resurrected, Harvey.
For heaven's sake.
Yeah, for heaven's sake. You know, and you know what's really funny? I was talking to this woman and, you know, explaining the situation to her, and she said, oh, you're telling me bad news. I said, oh, well, look at the back of the picket sign. What an amazing coincidence. Some synchronicity this morning, Harvey. Some synchronicity. Or maybe it's destiny. Anyways, I consider it somewhat Jungian. Somewhat Jungian. So yeah, Harvey's a former Gazette religious columnist. He actually wrote some pretty good articles about my religious experience and my efforts to get interreligious celebration of creation going back in the early to mid 90s. He wasn't a member of the church at the time, to the best of my knowledge. He was, at the time, a member of the Jungian Society. So a guy who knows a little bit about Carl Gustav Jung, and therefore knows a little bit about meaningful coincidences and synchronicity. And I'm not saying that this particular instance is, you know, necessarily, you know, a real, honest to God, meaningful coincidence of synchronicity. You know, there's low-level synchronicity, and then there's some very high-level synchronicity. In other words, you know, there are coincidences that, in my view, do happen. They're just purely random. But there are other coincidences that aren't purely random, that something is behind those coincidences. In this particular case, I'd put this towards the lower end. It's just I'd say a lower end coincidence that the woman said, you're telling me bad news. Literally, that's her exact words. You're telling me bad news. And on the back of the picket sign, it says Church of the Bad News. I'm not rating that as a very high level or even mid-level synchronicity. I'd put that at the lower end of the synchronicity scale, or maybe even not synchrony. And, you know, maybe it's just a pure random chance coincidence that just happened without any specific influence going on behind it. But in any case, Harvey, at a certain point, can't remember exactly when, but quite some time ago, he joined the Unitarian Church of Montreal. He's been a member for quite some time. And it's a shame because, Harvey's a journalist, or a former journalist. Harvey's in a position to go and find out what the real truth is, even go and tell the real truth, but he won't, because he doesn't want to, tell the truth about his church, because the truth isn't very pleasant. So Harvey just comes to church, does his thing, but, to date, I've never seen Harvey speak out against what's going on here. Never seen Harvey in any way condemn what's going on here. I've never seen Harvey write an article about what's going on here and get it published in a good day. Happy Easter.
Can I ask you why we're coming here for the first time today?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
So, can I ask you why?
Why I'm protesting?
Yeah.
Well, I think you can read that picket sign, right?
Unitarian prejudice and bigotry sucks.
You asterisk you. Yeah. Ass, actually.
So it's the fact that it's a kind of a non-secular.
No. It's because there's actual Unitarian prejudice, actual Unitarian bigotry. I've been subjected to it by the former minister of the church, other members of the church, but it's also broader than that. Essentially, what it is, there's various different kinds of intolerance and bigotry within the Unitarians, but the main one, the most obvious one, is that certain members, a significant percentage of Unitarians are atheists.
Okay.
They do not believe in God at all.
Right.
So if you come into a Unitarian church, especially one that's dominated by the atheist faction, and you believe in God, then you can have some, everything from insults to sticking spokes in your wheels to labeling you psychotic because you're claiming a religious experience to falsely alleging that an interreligious event you organized as a cult.
I thought it was supposed to be accepted.
They claim, they do all this wonderful stuff they claim, but they're hypocrites, like a whole lot of other churches.
Right.
They've done so. They've got. I'm not. I actually want you to go in, and I want you to read the plaque. So they got 7 principles. These are 7 principles that all Unitarian Universalists claim to believe in.
Okay.
It's like. First one's the inherent worth and dignity of every human being.
Right.
We affirm and promote this. It starts off with we affirm and promote. Second one is we affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Third one, which comes to the point you were making, we affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth. Fourth principle, free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Fifth, I'm doing pretty good here. I'm doing better than a whole lot of them. A whole lot of. You ask them what your 7 principles are, they're probably, I don't know, what the fuck. But anyway, where are we at the 5th principle now?
Yeah, 5th.
Oh shit. I know it. It's escaping my. We'll jump to the 6th for the time being.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 5th, democratic. It's right of conscience. Affirm and promote the right of conscience and use of the democratic process. 6, basically it's sort of rehash of the previous ones. We affirm and promote the goal of justice and peace in the world, kind of. That's not the exact word. You can go see it in there.
Right.
And this final 7th principle is we affirm and promote the interconnected web of all existence.
Okay.
So every single one of those, every single Sunday I'm here, they make a total mockery of.
Okay.
And over the years I've been protesting, and not just by not living up to them, but by doing the exact opposite. In fact, last week I had a picket sign here. And it said, Unitarian Universalists, censor and suppress critics. Because they've censored and suppressed not only me, but numerous other people, even going so far as to bring bullshit criminal charges against me, which I had to defend myself in court, and I was acquitted because it was bullshit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's a law in Canada that prohibits disturbing the order and solemnity of a religious service, and they tried to use that law to prevent this protest. Like, I'm outside, I'm not making noise, they can't see me, but the hypocrites twisted the law to try and force an end to my protest by falsely accusing me of law. So I had fun defending myself.
Sunday?
Not every Sunday. It varies. When they're trying to the more they try to shut me down, the more I come. But on average, maybe 2 or 3 a month.
Can I ask, is Is it the principles of Unitarianism that you disagree with?
No.
They're
It's
not living up to
exactly.
their
I'm
principles.
protesting against the
In your
hypocrisy.
experience,
I believe in those. I've defended every single one of those principles. You know, I went for justice
But
by
because
defending
of your religious beliefs, you don't feel you've been accepted.
I absolutely haven't.
You have not been accepted. Here.
The former minister of the church. And not only was I not accepted, I was kicked out
Really?
for complaining about the intolerance and bigotry. The former minister of the church, Reverend Ray Drennan, who came in about a year or two after I joined. The first minister, when I joined, it was a Christian, Unitarian Universalist minister, so we got along okay. Him and me, because he believed in God, I believe in God.
Right.
He defended me from the atheists as much as he could, but there was the atheist faction. Even when he was minister, I was running into intolerance and bigotry and stuff.
Right.
But when he left, the next minister was an intolerant atheist bigot, Reverend Ray Drennan.
And that's the current.
No, he's not. He resigned a little while ago. But within weeks of becoming minister of the church, he banned my interreligious event from being celebrated in the church, even if everything had already been approved by everyone else. But he and the board of the church overruled everyone else, said, no, can't have it here.
Okay.
A couple of weeks after that, he labeled it a cult to my face. Labeled me psychotic because I'm claiming a quite strong religious. No, you're psychotic. You know, he doesn't believe in God, so
Right.
by definition, you cannot have a relative, an experience of God because God doesn't exist. Therefore, you must be crazy. That's his logic. You know?
Right.
So he has a right.
It's an unfortunate stance.
Yeah. Well, he has a right to believe that, but he does not have a right to abusively
No.
label me as psychotic and insist that I seek psychiatry. Do I look psychotic? I mean, seriously, do I look like someone?
Well, even if you were.
Exactly. Keep going. Yeah, because you're right. I know what you're going to say. Just say it.
I don't need to. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Even if she was going to say, even if I was psychotic,
That's
that
You
is
have a
not.
right to your beliefs.
Well, not okay. Well, maybe I didn't know. Okay, what I thought you were going to say was, even if I really was mentally ill, you don't go, you're psychotic. You
No, also.
kindly and gently and try to usher the person towards
With
seeking.
compassion.
Exactly. Justice, equity, and compassion.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want you
Are
to
you
go.
going
I'm
to
not.
be here afterwards too?
Since you asked, yes.
Well, I don't want you to wait around.
No,